Hello, my name is Michelle Mras. I'm a coach, speaker, trainer, author, and oh my goodness, actress. And you are listening to Conversations with Pearl. I'm looking forward to this. Hope you are too.
Hello, sunshine, good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in a storm of a relationship. Lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here. Once you leave the clouds, you're under. Ain't it funny how there ain't no rain or clear? Why'd it take so long to leave you in the rearview mirror? Now nobody gonna steal my sunshine or turn my blue sky gray. All I know is at the end of the day, wildflowers grow when there ain't.
Hello, everybody. This is Pearl, and you are with Conversations with Pearl today. And I'm so excited to be here with my special guest today. And what's really great is, I'm always telling everybody, get to know somebody in other cities and really make great connections. And I got to meet our next guest in Orlando when I was speaking at a competition. And it was so much fun. We all gave our wonderful talks and stories, and it was amazing to get to know our next guest. And so I'm excited to have our next guest on. I want to just share a little bit about her before I tell you exactly who she is. But her name is Michelle Mras, and she's an international acclaimed author of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. It's a glimpse into a life well lived, and it's not luck. Overcoming You. She's a co-author of the best-selling book series 13 Steps to Riches, lead author of Hold My Crown, which is a great book, Women's of Grit. They share their stories of resilience. She's also the co-author of Amplifluence, 3 Pillars to Speak, Publish, and Convert Your Message. And what I love, Michelle is also a podcaster. She's a co-host of the Denim and Pearls podcast, Pearls in there, you guys, and host of Mental Shift on the channel TNC Philippines. She amplifies your presence and guides you through the professional speaker process. It teaches you on the core message development and your signature talk. And so you guys all know it's really important to have that signature talk. And Michelle's bonus service is to orchestrate that delivery and framework of your multifaceted presentation. She's a survivor of multiple life challenges, which we will talk about as well today, to include traumatic brain injury and breast cancer. She guides others to recognize the innate gifts that we have within us, stop apologizing for what they are not, and step into who they truly are unapologetically. Michelle, welcome to Conversations with Pearl.
Thank you so much for having me, Pearl. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So just a little, so everyone knows, so you and I met in August last year, right? In Orlando.
End of July, yes.
Yeah. So the really cool thing for the listeners is, so Michelle and I competed against each other. And then in December, I decided I'm going to try this again. And Michelle was actually a judge. And it was really great because Michelle, she was one of the judges, but she gave such great critique on, what you did great, what you did good, and what you can improve on. And I just love that. It just resonated with how her energy and her outlook on life. But really, I wanted Michelle on here because I want you guys to know her story. You guys have heard me talk often about how I've overcome letting my dad go because he became racial towards my son. Letting go, setting boundaries so you can have harmony in your life. And let me tell you, Michelle has overcome some serious stuff, as you guys heard. So Michelle, just kind of walk us through your life. Like, what was it like growing up for you? And take us on that journey of your overcoming the traumatic brain injury too.
Okay, well, growing up for me, I'm a military brat. So I grew up overseas in the Philippines, my mother's home country. And the thing about growing up, I didn't realize I had it hard. So like many of you, we lived our life thinking that everybody has the same life that we have. And, parents fight and, siblings do this and whatever. I thought what I had was normal until I met other families that didn't fight, who got along, who did things. And I'm like, this isn't right. Well, I vowed to myself that I was going to have a better life than what I had. I mean, we were happy, but I knew I could have more. I could be happier and more accepted. And I grew up, I married my high school sweetheart. We've been together for 39 years. So we met when I was 14 and he was 16. And the thing about it is we grew together. And as time has gone on, like many women do, we get lost in our families and our children. And I lost the fact that I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be like Martin Luther King. Okay, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to move the masses. And I forgot that passion in me because I got lost in my family. Well, the biggest blessing happened to me in 2014, May of 2014. I was running political campaigns. I'm writing for people because I can hear big speeches and narrowing them down to 3 minutes. I mean, I have this gift of taking what I see, seeing it, rearranging it, and giving it right back to people. It's what I do. And May of 2014, I was in a car accident. And that is my biggest blessing. Because in that car accident, I stopped speaking. Then I stopped walking. And for the next 2 years, I was completely unable to do anything without assistance. And at the end of those 2 years, or in those 2 years, I realized I had forgotten who I was. I wasn't me, and I wasn't what I even wanted to be. I wasn't what I wanted. And I beat myself up for it in my mind, doing, here I am. Doctors don't know if I'll ever speak or walk again. And I never lived. And I'm 46 years old. And I swore into the universe, let me get through this. And if I get through this, I promise I'll wake everybody else up. I'll waken them all up to live. Well, at that 2-year mark, I still wasn't walking or talking. And I thought God had a personal vendetta, that he wasn't listening. And in my head, I screamed up at God, if you hate me so much, then take me already. Kill me. I don't want to be this way. And I heard, you're not dead yet, get up. And I found myself 6 feet away from the chair that my husband had picked me up and placed me on. Every morning he did that for 2 years. And I realized, I saw every time I thought I was forsaken, every time I thought I was hurt, every time bad things had happened, there was someone with me. I was never alone. And that is when it dawned on me. No one else was holding me back but me. It was me. I'm the bad guy in my own story because I was playing small. And so I promised God and the universe that if I start walking and talking, I will walk with passion and I will unveil other people to live their passion. I will promise to live a life full. And that if I drop dead tomorrow, at least I know I lived the life I was meant to live. And immediately after that, I ended up, it didn't happen fast. I had to do a lot of therapy, walking and moving and learning how to hold spoons and all the things I had to relearn because my body had stopped cooperating with me. I had to relearn all that. And if you meet me like Pearl has met me, you would never know I was trapped in my body for 2 years. And what's so cool about that is in that 2-year period, I gained like 100 and something pounds. So at the end of that, when I did my TED Talk, I was close to 380 pounds when I did my TEDx. So I've come a long way, baby, not only health-wise, but mental-wise, spiritual-wise, physical. Everything about me has altered because of that one thing that took me out for 2 years. And most people would have thought, this is it, I'm done. And what it did is it fired me up to actually give more than I'd ever given before. It's my blessing. So I'll try to wrap it up really quickly. So I get through this. I start doing my TED Talk. I get asked to come to India to win the Women's Economic Forum Award. I win the John Maxwell Culture Award for attitude. And then I found out I had breast cancer. So now I'm on a breast cancer journey. And instead of it holding me back in any way, it's what it is. It's more fuel. If I'm going to die from this, which I'm pretty sure I'm not, but if I do, I know I'm living full. It's not like before where, oh my gosh, if I never come back, I didn't live. Now it's like, oh, well, I've given back as much as I can. All I can do is keep going. So that's where I am now.
I love that. I wrote down a couple of things while you were talking too. Is first of all, I'm a Marine Corps brat myself, so I'm a military brat too, and totally get the story. We never talked about this when we were together. Is my parents, they argued, they didn't speak for 2 weeks. You walked on eggshells in the house, and it was just like, okay. And all of a sudden they talk. It's like, oh, everything's fine. It's like, how the heck that happened, right? It was like, yeah. And I, like you said,
they deploy and they come back and everything's fine. It's like,
right. It's like, yeah. And when I met my husband, if I would get upset with him, like I wouldn't speak to him. He's like, hey, I can't help fix whatever it was I did or what is happening if you don't tell me. And now he'll tell you she doesn't shut up. But so, but
same with me.
it's so powerful. And And then what you said too is you're not dead yet. I think, in life, that's a huge lesson for those. I'm actually getting chills thinking about it. It's a huge lesson to women and men that are listening to the show today, especially women that, we go through life and we think, oh, we've gone through a divorce or, an illness like you did, or just things come at us like, I'm just going to give up. Why even bother? Right? It's like, no, stop. You're not dead yet. You are here for a reason, and I always love when I coach women. I love to share that, it's like going through life, like you're climbing a mountain, right? And as you climb this mountain, you take a stop midway up the mountain. You don't have to get up so fast, right? Enjoy the lessons you're learning, right? And as you enjoy the lessons you're learning, stop and have a little break and go, what worked for me? What didn't work for me? And carry it forward, right? And so I just love what you said, you're not dead yet. And then also, like, what's holding you back? Like, why are you letting that hold you back? Ourselves, right? We so often hold ourselves back because we think, oh, I don't deserve it, or they should get it before me, or any of that stuff. And like, listen, when you and I have talked about that, when I did the contest, and I've done things, or I've competed in things, or I've bid for stuff and I didn't get it. I don't look at it like, I don't look at it and go, oh, woe is me, right? I get up every morning and I tell myself, I'm wonderfully and beautifully made, and I deserve everything and anything that's coming my way, good, better, and different. There's a lesson to learn from it, right? And I think what you shared is just so powerful. And so, my next question, I think you've kind of answered it, was like, what obstacles, have made you who you are? And I think you answered that. You got that question, but as you've gone through these obstacles, and I know you're a mom, right? And so as moms, we try to take what we learn and pay it forward to our children too. Like, how are you paying that forward, not just with your kids, but I know, but I want the audience to hear, how do you pay that forward, that lesson, to those that you coach? Because I know you're also a great, you're a coach for speakers, and you're amazing. And so how do you take those lessons and help people like myself and those who listen to be like, deep down inside, you've got that story. Come tell me.
There's something about my presence that has people bring their story to me. But the other thing I wanted to add that I don't normally talk about, and I'm just recently started talking about, because I realized after Hold My Crown, the Women of Grit Share Stories of Resilience, that there are a lot more people out there, men and women, who've been abused in some way, shape, or form, in their younger years, that shapes them. So like with me, my senior year of college, I was I was a captive victim to a rapist. So he kept me, and he had me for at least 9 months, and he would rape me twice a day. And I say that calmly now because I've come through it, but I realized that episode in my life where I thought I was broken and wasn't good enough, I wasn't worthy of love, and that this was my place. But as a woman, maybe I'm supposed to succumb to some bigger man. I held that in my head. Even when I didn't believe it, I held it in my head. And so when I went into businesses and I started going into my own business, I started working in politics, writing speeches and doing everything, that thought would come back into my head, that I wasn't good enough because apparently this guy knew me and took advantage of my kindness. And so I would hold myself back. And that comes into what I coach now. It's all part of the coaching of the being a rape victim and coming out of it, to being a brain. I have a traumatic brain injury. I'm missing 4 areas of my brain. Most people won't know that. You've got to be with me a lot to notice it. But brain injury and then cancer. Okay. And then I've had 9 surgeries in the past 3 years, 9 major surgeries to keep me alive. So I've come through a lot. So when I'm coaching people and I'm helping them through whatever they're going through, or helping, in my case, pull the story out of them, I call it self-leadership. Everything comes back to how you lead yourself. I don't care what you're doing in your world, but if you can't lead you, you can't lead anyone else. And that's really the core. And that's why I wanted to share the story about me in college. I fell victim to someone because I didn't have enough confidence in me. And now that I'm in this other lane of world of speaking and coaching, I train people to realize the strengths that they do have and recognize when they put someone else's thought into their head of what they can't, their limiting beliefs come from someone else, and that they've incorporated into their world. And once we pull that veil off, they realize the thing that they have been afraid of the most in their lives, the thing that they held back because they didn't want to get hurt anymore, is actually their gift. The man who took me for the man, I'm going to use that quote unquote, man who took me for those 9 months, he didn't take me because I was weak. He took me because he wanted the power that I had. He wanted that ability to draw people that I naturally have, that ability to speak and communicate, that natural glow. He wanted it for himself so he would feel bigger. Most of my life, I thought he took me because I was weak. So I thought I was weak and I played weak. It was polar opposite. So whatever you've come through, whatever you think is your weakness, look at it again. I'm talking to your audience because so many of us use what we think is our weakness as a weakness when actually it's our strength. And that is what I do as a coach. I find what you think is the thing you need to hide and pull it out you and turn on the light, because that's your power. And that's where I find the gift of what I do, of helping people pull their story, find their purpose, then pull their why out of that, and then craft it into something that they can share either in written form or on the stage. Because we all have a story and someone is waiting for your voice. And why not you?
And that's so true. Why not you? Like, why not me? I deserve it. So you touched on some really powerful things that, with what you went through in college and the rape. And so I want to touch that listener who's sitting at home. Oftentimes I've done it too. I'll listen to shows or podcasts, be like, oh yeah, that sounds great, whatever. But so that listener sitting at home saying that, oh, sure, Michelle and Pearl, they're saying great things, but somebody who's sitting there that maybe has look at their life right now and they're going, my life sucks right now. They sound great. What would be that like first step that you would like, that you think that they should take? Like if they're feeling lost, or they say, yes, I have a story, but you know what? I'm in this situation with, whether it's a man, whatever the situation is, a relationship, and they're just saying, I just don't know where to start. Right. What would you share and suggest with them?
Get back up.
I love it. Get back up.
I mean, I've been homeless. I got kicked out when I was 16. I mean, I've been homeless. I've lived out of, food, getting shelter food. And I mean, I've come through a lot. But the one thing I know that I have that a lot of people don't have is the gumption to get back up. We are built. I'm gonna go into my phrase. We are built to fall and get back up. We are born into the world very harshly. We come out of our mother screaming, somebody picks us by our legs, slaps us on our butt, and everything is a bright shock. Oh my gosh, everything is so panicky. Just coming into the world, we get traumatized just coming into the world. And then as we learn to move, we fall, we crawl, we move, we lift, we pull, we fall, we drop. It's how we are built to learn. So if you are falling, if you have things falling upon you, if you grab on for help and things fall on you, it's the process of how we grow. You are just a toddler trapped in an adult body. Get back up. Find your own way. Just because it worked for one person, some methodology, and it's not working for you, fine. Find your own way. We are all individuals. Every one of us have different fingerprints, okay? We're not identical, so identical solutions do not work. What people like Pearl and I do is we share our stories so that you can find a glimpse of maybe that might work for you. Not that it will work for you, but maybe some variation of that. So if you're out there saying, Pearl and Michelle, they're different. I've got a whole nother situation. Yeah, you probably do have a whole different situation. Get back up. Find your way. Keep looking for that grab, because you are not meant to stay down. If we were meant to stay down, we would be a world of crawlers. But look, we all walk because we all learn to crawl, get up, fall, and get back up again. It's how many times you get up. Keep getting up.
I love that, get back up. And it's so true. Like, I heard an advertisement this morning where it was for a weight loss program. And the DJ doing the advertising, she's like, this works for me, but everybody's different, so go check them out, because it's individualized and everybody's challenges are different. And you're right. All our stuff is different. It's very rare that you're going to see, oh, that happened to me. All the things happen to you didn't happen to me. Right. So it's true. Like, get back up, and I always say, what's the lesson that you're learning as you're getting back up, and write that lesson down, because it's part of your story. Right. Just like you said,
it's part of the solution for the next thing that comes into your world.
Right.
And I embrace every trauma I've gone through, because I've learned from one to survive the next. And it sounds crazy, but we are not put through things to just have them. We're put through things to learn from them and use it for the next challenge. Yep. Don't sit on it.
Yep.
So the 3 lessons I share in my TEDx is, number 1, you have to have a plan, but be flexible on how you get it. It's like a GPS. They'll give you multiple routes. Just find the one that works best for you. Number 2, eat dessert first. Life is too short. And if you wait for some special moment, when I hit 30, when I have this perfect job, when I make this X dollar amount, if you wait for those kind of things before you allow yourself to be happy, you will never be happy. So eat dessert first. Enjoy your life while you're on your way to your goal. And then third is, the differences between a rut and a grave are the dimensions. It's a quote by Ellen Glasgow. If you keep doing exactly the same thing every day and wondering why you're not progressing into the next thing that you wanted to do, it's because you're doing the same thing. You must do something different every day to get to that thing that you want. So step out of your comfort zone. Go be the best version of you and be unapologetic about it.
I love it. And the other thing too is, if you're not sure, ask for help, right?
Like, that's what coaches are for.
Exactly. And people think, oh, I have a coach. I mean, coaches need coaches, so we're saying, we've taken our life experiences and our life lessons and we're paying it forward, like Michelle and I are talking here today. So I love what you said, get back up, eat dessert first. Let's go, everybody. Let's go eat your dessert first. I just love that. So I want to ask you, Michelle, who's been the biggest influence in your life and why?
The biggest influence in my life. Oh my gosh. In what segment of my life? I have so many big influences. Honestly, right now, one of my biggest influences, him, Ken Dr. Smiley Rashan. He has brought me to a new level of me that I didn't even expect to happen. I ran into him at the Ultimate Speaker Competition, and he heard my story and he said, "You are an amazing speaker. I've been to thousands of conferences, and not one has caught me the way you have caught me." I was back there crying, and I had to remember to take pictures. He said, "You have a gift that not many people have. You're able to latch into hearts and pull that empathy out of people who don't even realize they have empathy. We need to get you out more." And that's why he published my book. He wanted to publish Hold My Crown, Women of Grit Share Stories of Resilience, because he's a marketer. And I don't market myself. I'm one of those, I'm a woman that I don't like selling. I don't believe in selling, but I like to share. And he has, okay, marketing, sharing, selling, it's the same thing. Let me help you. So he's been the biggest influence for me because he's helped me figure out a way to give back bigger. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about, he helped me develop Amplifluence. And I've been talking to you about bringing you in and your crowd, because Amplifluence, we go from state to state. My whole thing is, I'm about, how do I expand what I do to other people who are going through that same path that I am? I don't want to do a conference really, but I can do mini conferences. And so we do a mover and shaker on a Friday night, invite all the who's who in the town, talk to the Chamber of Commerce, have everybody come. Then we invite all the authors to meet these big movers and shakers in their town, the ones who hire speakers, the ones who do that kind of thing. And then we invite all the movers and shakers to the next day, which is like 100 author event. We allow 100 authors into a room that they can come and speak about the book, sell their book, and they can also be trained. So at the end of the day and a week later, we offer training so that we can amplify their influence, amplify their influence on either their book sales or how they speak. If they're a coach, how they write a book and how they speak. And so speakers, coaches, and authors, we are catering to the 3 things that I am and feeding them and influencing them and amplifying their influence in their communities and beyond with Amplifluence. So that is why he is such a big influence with me, because he captured what I've been trying to do and not knowing how to do it. And he made it a reality with me. And then we partnered with Todd Westra, who is an SEO guru. In my mind, he does all that computer stuff. And so the 3 of us, between marketing, which is Ken, speaking and messaging, which is me, and Todd, the computer aspect of mass producing and SEO, and basically we round up the whole return on investments for coaches, speakers, and authors.
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk more about it. At the group, everybody's listening knows we've had this little vintage camper that we're doing. So we're excited to take that on the road with you and do some really cool things with it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. We'll probably have to come do a podcast just about that and have you on. And anybody who's been listening to us, we had Ken on a few weeks ago, along with Dr. Andrea and one of his, Eddie, who he's trying to help with the Keep Smiling movement. So, and we're excited too, because we're the Keep Smiling movement, as well as Unsilenced Voices, are part of our two charities we're incorporating as we go on the road. So we're excited to be part of him. He is a great, I totally get why you said that about him. He's got this energy, this smile, and it's just, he's just awesome. So anybody who's listening needs to go check out Dr. Ken Rashawn, because he's fantastic, and you'll see him in other podcasts as well. So, okay, so we are, we've come through, we've got this Amplify going on. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Like, where are you personally, and where are you as a business speaker? Where do you see yourself?
Personally, I see myself on a beach with a pina colada in my hand. Business-wise, huge. I mean, huge. So Amplifluence will be, in the next 5 years, will be running itself. And basically, it will be from state to state, and I'll have entities that run each of those events in every state. And I will just be, Ken and Todd will pop in as the special guest speakers that do mini trainings in each of these events. But basically, I'm going to be on a beach. The next step off of that is, I call myself the Blasian Oprah. So my thing is, I want my own TV show here in the United States that pushes and amplifies across the world. So I have my podcast here in America. Ken and I are starting Amplifluence podcast on Wednesdays here. And then I also have my show in the Philippines. So I'm taking all three of them. And in my mind, within the 5 years, I will have my own show across the world.
Okay, so I'll come to the beach with you anytime. The beach is my jam. Once a quarter, I go to the beach for staycation. So that's totally my jam. I totally see you. I have this friend. So anybody listening that's in the Tampa Bay area, but if you're not, you need to reach out to her. Her name is Lanice Germany. I need to introduce you to her, because she's got an amazing story. But she came to one of our very first pajama retreats we did almost 6 years ago. And we had this amazing speaker that was there. And the speaker was talking about, what are your goals? Where do you want to go? What is you can do with your business? And Lanice said she wanted to be the Oprah Winfrey of catering. And every time I see her, I remind her of that statement. I go, you're on your way. And just last week, they sealed a big deal that's being announced soon for a big convention center, and they're going to be the signature vendor caterer. So it's so fun to watch and see everybody grow. So I can't wait to see you be the Oprah Winfrey of what you do as well. And I'm excited I see all that happening. It's just so amazing. So let's talk a little bit about self-care. So we talked about the beach. I work with women around being, putting themselves first authentically and taking some time for themselves, having that harmony in their life, really being that shiro of themselves, right? Without guilt, And so I always ask them, what do you do for self-care? And I hear, oh, I take a bubble bath. Forget it. Bubble baths are getting you clean. And if you take it ever so often for self-care, great, but it's not self-care, right? So Michelle, what is self-care to you?
I have an entire regiment around self-care. My thing is, when I had my brain injury, I saw myself dead. And then when I got that diagnosis of cancer, again, saw myself dead. And what all this stuff was that I wasn't taking care of myself. My body was shutting down because it was in pain. It needed a break. And so my self-care routine, most people consider work. I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm at the gym by 5:15, 5:30. I work out for 2 hours. So I'm on a cross trainer or something aerobic for at least 45 minutes. And then I go into the weight room, and then I do weights for a good hour. And then I go to the sauna or the hot tub, and I stretch and just kind of hang out. I'm a very busy woman, right? Pearl, I'm a very busy woman. I only work 2 days a week. And then every weekend, I go to a cabin with my husband, unless I'm flying, like right now, I'm out traveling. But I only work Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's part of my self-care. What I realized when I had my brain injury was that I thought all those things I thought I have to do because no one else can do it. I have to do it. Oh my gosh, I'm going to take a bubble bath, and I'm going to tell God, take me away. Everything I thought I had to do when I got sick, it kept going without me. And actually, all those people I thought relied on me didn't even notice I disappeared. They didn't even come to say, oh, Michelle, are you okay? I mean, those people weren't there. And so I realized that being less in the hectic world and more in my world is what soothes me. And me taking my long walks I will disappear for a whole day just because I'm hiking somewhere. Okay. So my thing is, my world still moves and I only work 2 days a week. What happened to the woman that was working 17 hours a day? I mean, I was taking phone calls at 3 a.m. I'm more efficient now with 2 days a week than I had ever been when I was working from 5 a.m. to 3 a.m. So if you're out there thinking self-care is a bubble bath, we need to up your game. I want you to take a whole couple of hours every morning where you speak to no one, you do nothing else. You might get your kids to school, you come home, you put your PJs on. I don't care what you do, but it's all you. If you have to sit around and just read a book, then do it. But you must find time where you center yourself. I'm a meditator. So every morning I wake up, I do my whole gym thing. But even before I do the gym thing, I've already meditated. I've done some yoga. Then I go to the gym. So it's all about taking care of your body, because my cancer is not hereditary. My cancer just showed up. And the only thing I can think of is it showed up because I held in so much pain so long and blamed myself for everything that had ever gone wrong in anyone's life. I think it manifested in me as being unworthy. And as soon as I started taking care of myself, all these things that the doctor said were going to kill me didn't. I've dropped 240 pounds. Okay. That wasn't just eating right and working out. It was a mindset. I stopped looking in the mirror and doing, look at that fat. Oh, look at that double. I stopped beating me up. And I looked in the mirror and said, gosh, I love your eyes. Look at that smile. Oh, your energy is so amazing. We need to share that with more people today. I mean, that is how I wake up now. That's what got me to me now. Loving me unconditionally. And literally, although we've been told being selfish is selfish, being selfish is not. In order to give as much as we women love to do, and the men too, those of us who love to give, you have to fill your pitcher before you fill everyone else's. Our misconception is give till you drop. No, it's fill so you can give, don't drop. That's what I've learned. Self-care is every day.
I love that. And you know, what you said too is, fill your cup. And we talk about that often here on the show is fill your cup, because if you don't fill your cup, you can't help take care of those, first of all, the loved ones that are the closest you need to take care of, right? You can't do that the way you need to. It's like anybody who's a caregiver that's listening, for whether it's somebody you're caregiving for your kids or a child that has challenges, all the way up to somebody who has dementia, you have to put yourself first and take care of you, because you can't take care of them before. Otherwise, if you don't, you're gonna be so unhealthy, like Michelle just shared. And I love that you said, because you're right, it's a mindset for weight loss, right? It's totally a mindset of weight loss. I went through COVID in October and it totally messed up my thyroid. Tons of stuff happened to me with my weight and everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm back on. It was easy to be going, hey, I'm just gonna do that. Who cares? But I love that you also found your eyes and said you have beautiful eyes this morning, right? And it's so important, those that are listening, is that taking the negative, flipping to the positive. If you are overweight, I am beautifully, wonderfully made, and I look beautiful today. Like, you still are beautiful on the inside and you're beautiful on the outside. You just want to maybe do something to help fix those flaws. Great. Grab a coach and have a partner or somebody to help you with it. But the bottom line is you are beautiful, and you have to stop those negative thoughts, because it's so true. I have a word. It's called buffalo. If I start thinking negatively, or if I start going down a path, like with my kids, they'll go buffalo. And I'm like, I'll tell myself, it's like a trigger that goes, oh, that's negative, get rid of it. That's negative, get rid of it. Right. So it's just so powerful for me to have that word. So sometimes you're listening, you want a word, give yourself a word that like wakes you up and makes you feel happy. Right. So I think it's just awesome. We have had so much fun here today talking and everything. So tell everybody, I know you got to go off to do some fun, great things that you got from winning the Ultimate Speaker competition. So tell me and tell the audience where they can find you and what's your next immediate thing coming up that they should look for you at.
You can find everything from me really on michellemras.com. My name, michellemras.com. I tend to put everything there. But the next thing the two things I haven't added yet is the Amplifluence. We're supposed to be here in Florida, actually in April. And then the one right before that is I'm launching Hold My Crown at the Library of Congress in DC on March 17, 18, 19. So the very next thing is DC, March 17, 18, 19. We're going to do a mover and shaker. Then we're going to do the author thing. It's actually my book launch. And then we'll have a little party afterwards. And then April will be here in Florida. We're going from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Walton Beach to Orlando, something like that. We're moving up the state sometime in April. And I think it's the first week of April.
Yay. I love it. The first week of April, I have to look at my calendar because I know I have something happening that first week in April. But I am so excited to have you here in Florida, our home state. So thank you so much. And everybody go find on michellemras.com. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. I had an offer for you.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
I have the digital version of Hold My Crown, Women of Grit Share Stories of Resilience. If they're interested, they can write me directly on Facebook and say, hey, I want to read your PDF. The only give back as I'm asking for is you have to write a review on Amazon for us when it's available.
Awesome. All right. So you guys, you heard that. We're going to put the link. You go get that little gift from Miss Michelle, and then you have to give her a review. So that's really, really important. I'm so excited. All right. So everybody that's listening, I gave Michelle the warning that we have our Better Questions, Better Life that we end the show off with. So we're going to shuffle our cards, and Michelle's going to tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right. So let's see what Miss Michelle's question is. Oh, I think this will be an easy one for you, but you tell us, how can you experience joy?
How? Me personally or everyone?
You.
Experience joy by waking up. I experience joy because I sit up. When I open my eyes, I'm the most obnoxious morning person you will ever meet. Because I open my eyes, I do, yes, I'm awake. Because there's so many days. And when I can move, it's even better because there's been so many years and days where I woke up, but then I couldn't move. So I was just joyful that I could wake up. But now that I'm joyful and I can stretch and move my hands and they move when I ask them to, that is joyful to me. And the other thing is people might think I'm crazy, but at the hotel, I get the room facing the pool because I love the sound of laughter. Joy. Children playing in water is so pure that you remember why we're all here. We're here to love, laugh, and live. And those kids laughing out there, it's bliss. So that's how I find joy, in the little things.
I love that. You know, so many times people go, do you want the pool or you don't want the pool? And what a great spin on that too. I love that. You know, you're right. Because the kids are so innocent. They don't know, you know, and if we could just keep that in mind. Today I went to do a mini intervention with one of my clients today. And I walked in, I was like, okay, this, and this is what's keeping you from moving forward. So let's address this. How are we getting rid of this crap? Right. So we worked on that today. So she's like, whoa, you just show up my house. I go, I've been known to show up at people's houses. So you better be careful if you live local. But if you don't, I've been known to fly in as well. So I'm so excited to have you here. And so to all of our listeners that are listening here, we'll put all the links up to Miss Michelle Mras so you can follow her, connect with her, reach out to her and talk with her as well. She'd love to have those conversations. And if you are listening today and you want to become more authentic with yourself and you want to become that shiro of your self-care, I want you to go to wsliving.com and join our Shiro League. You can visit one time for free and visit with a community of women that support one another. We lift you up and help you with your self-care, have private conversations, and let you live that life of harmony without guilt. So thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle. And remember, those that are listening, go out and find your inner pearl to greatness. Thank you.
Hello, sunshine, good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in